In the latest twist, Israeli high-tech companies who identify with the hard left in Israel decided to literally join the BDS movement, to boycott, divest, and sanction, and they called to divest from Israel, and they called to move their monies out of Israel in protest of Israel's legal reform. It's hard to imagine, but really to understand, the hardcore secular left would rather Israel be destroyed or become a Muslim state than have Israel actually become a truly Jewish state. They so much do not want it to be Jewish. Their heart is so stone-like that they would rather it just shatter it to pieces as long as it doesn't actually become a Jewish state. And so right now they're doing everything in their power to stop this government from making Israel more democratic. But Jeremy, more democratic, the protests, they're all saying you're ruining democracy. All of the articles are saying the legal reform is destroying democracy. The protests are fighting in the name of democracy. How could you say that they're destroying democracy? How? It doesn't make any sense. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? It's not the hard left in Israel. They're not just lying. It's not that what they are saying is not true. It is the anti-truth. It's the opposite of the truth. It's an incredible tactic, because we're arguing with a side that has so reframed the conversation, so totally transformed our own words, that the conversation we're left with is just dumbfounded. We just have to fall on our faces. The chutzpah is beyond. But what's so incredible is, watch this. The Torah describes exactly this scenario, that when evil comes to attack Israel, it takes the truth and it comes at it at the anti-truth, the exact opposite. It's unbelievable. So look, we look at the Torah, and we're told about Moses, the greatest of all prophets in the Hebrew Bible. Moses isn't smart. The Torah doesn't say that he's strong. The Torah doesn't say that he's extra compassionate. The Torah says one thing about Moses. It says it in Numbers chapter 12, verse 3. Now the man Moses was very humble, more than any man who was on the face of the earth. So the one attribute that the Torah describes of Moses in the book of Numbers is that he was the most humble of all people. Not the smartest, not the strongest, the most humble. And then just a few chapters later, Numbers chapter 16, verse 3, when a small group of people try to get power from Moses, look at what they say. Numbers 16, verse 3, here's what it says. They came as a group to oppose Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You have gone too far. The whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is with them. Why do you raise yourself above the Lord's assembly?" And raise yourself above in Hebrew, mitnaseh, literally means, why are you so arrogant in thinking that you're the tribe of Levi should be so holy? Korach says, no, we're all equal here. And what did he just do? He literally just called the most humble man on the planet and says, why are you so arrogant? What is Moses supposed to say to that? He's literally taken it's the anti-truth. So what does Moses do? He just falls on his face. He's like, I don't know. I don't even know how to answer. It's so not true. It's anti-true. It's not just a lie. It's the opposite tactic. And that's exactly what we're seeing today right now. The left that's trying to get power, just like Korach was trying to get power, almost with the same scenario. Oh no, we're fighting for democracy. We're fighting for everyone's rights in Israel, so this small elite can maintain their power, because that's really what Korach wanted. He wanted the power. And then calling the most humble man on the planet the most arrogant, it's what do you do with that? And then look at what happened. Korach was swallowed up by the ground. You guys all know that story? That's a famous story. Now look at what happened last week in Israel. Israeli high-tech companies that identified with the hard left, they decided to join the BDS movement and to divest from Israel. And they publicly called other companies to follow. Let's destroy Israel's economy. Let's force this government to stop the legal reform. They're going to try to destroy Israel's economy to pressure the government to stop. And this tiny violent group, they're waging war on Israel on every front that they can. And they move all of their money out of Israel. Billions of dollars were moved out of Israel. And then something happened in America last week. Silicon Valley Bank defaulted last week. It's the second largest bank failure in U.S. history. Do you know where the Israeli high-tech BDS companies moved their funds? Yep, you got it, to Silicon Valley Bank. Now, I don't know. It was like swallowed up into the ground. Of all of the banks of the world that they could have moved their money to, they could have moved it to Oklahoma. They could have moved it to Wall Street. They could have moved it to Switzerland. They could have moved it to anywhere. The one bank that they chose to move all their money to try to seize power like Korach was swallowed up by the ground. And here's where it gets really good. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced Saturday night that his government will take steps to protect Israel-based high-tech companies affected by the crash of the bank, but only companies that have their businesses centered in Israel. And so now what has he done? It's like you want to see the living God of Israel interact with the world and guide his people. Watch this small group of people try to curse Israel and take their money out of Israel to try to collapse Israel's economy. And then the one bank they chose is the one bank that defaults and swallows all of their money. It's like, wow, just keep your eyes on Israel and you will see signs and wonders like no other country.